This is it. The last confrontation.
What are you talking about?
Today's the day you stop Cicada.
Something is struggling to break through. Or someone.
We have to move.
Thawne, I need to know we're not making this worse. Tell me you know what you're doing.
I am the only speedster who knows what he's doing! Stick with the plan. Follow my instructions. We'll defeat Cicada. We'll destroy his dagger. And then we will save your father.
The Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my new Flash, Reverse Flash trailer for episode 16. So obviously the focus is here on two different storylines. Reverse Flash and Nora completely screwing the timeline in the future and then trying to give Cicada the cure in present day. I have a couple theories about what Reverse Flash is talking about because of all the Godspeed stuff that's happening in a couple episodes. That's only a couple weeks away. We also learned more about what's happening during Crisis on Infinite Earths later this year because we learned that they're going to end the Arrow TV show right after Crisis. So it all ties together, all this stuff that Reverse Flash and Nora are planning and messing with the timeline. So we'll break it down. There's a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Flash comment on the video. The title of the episode is Failure is an Orphan, and that's actually based on the quote, "Victory has 100 fathers and defeat is an orphan." It just means that many people will seek credit for success, but very few people will accept responsibility for failure. So obviously you're talking about the two different storylines. Like Reverse Flash doesn't sound like someone who would be willing to accept failure, and then obviously you have the Cicada stuff in present day with them trying to give him the cure. The description of the episode just reads, with the metahuman cure ready to use, Barry and Team Flash must figure out a way to subdue Cicada long enough to take it. Killer Frost steps in to help with the plan. Meanwhile, Joe eases back into work and Nora isn't happy about the way the Flash plans to stop Cicada. In the Reverse Flash scene, he's looking at all that time language saying that something is trying to break through the timeline or someone. The episode after this one is called Time Bomb, and then the episode after that, episode 18, is called Godspeed. So it sounds like Godspeed or the introduction of Godspeed has something to do with what Reverse Flash is talking about. Also on top of that, you have to remember Stephen Amell confirmed they're ending Arrow after the final 10 episodes of Arrow Season 8 before the end of the year. So between the changes Reverse Flash and Nora are making to the timeline, the metaphor of a time bomb, the advent of Godspeed on the show, and the Green Arrow's bargain with the Monitor, something that Nora and Reverse Flash do has something to do with Crisis on Infinite Earths happening much, much earlier in the timeline than it originally did during Nora's future newspapers, and 2, Oliver Queen is the one that disappears during Crisis. Then you get the Arrow series finale as a sort of epilogue to Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I think the whole idea here, when you really look at what's going on, is that Nora and Reverse Flash are ultimately successful because that's all she cares about is saving her father. She's not really thinking about other Reverse Flash stuff that he might be planning on his own. But none of that says anything about how things change for either of them and their timelines, because Season 1, Reverse Flash Eobard Thawne still originally thought that Nora was one of the Tornado Twins from the comics, Barry's true twin children, meaning that whatever they've done to screw the timeline before this season, they've already baby Sarah Diggled themselves into a situation whereby one of the twins just disappears. She doesn't have a brother in this timeline.
Jesse Chambers, no? Libby Lawrence. Wait, Danica Williams.
It doesn't matter who she is.
She's your daughter. You've brought me your daughter. It's, Dawn, if I'm not mistaken.
So in further altering things to save Barry along the way to Crisis on Infinite Earths, they also probably caused the changes that bring back Nora's brother, so to speak. Remember, even during Season 5, they're still paying off Barry's gibberish future time language that he's been speaking when he came out of the Speed Force at the beginning of Season 4, Episode 1. And one of those lines was, "We're gonna need more diapers," and they still haven't paid that off yet. That probably has something to do with the Tornado Twins and these continued changes en route to this accelerated Crisis on Infinite Earths. So yay, happy moment, but also you still have the looming threat of Crisis, and now the imminent disappearance of Oliver Queen Green Arrow in place of Barry Allen. But just talking more about Nora Reverse Flash stuff, because the show is trying to get you so attached to the Nora character, like they really want you to like her, so if she were to ever go away, you would be really upset. It would be really weird if they brought her back next season after making all these changes and she were a completely different character, like, yay, we changed the timeline, but I'm a completely different person. So if they pay off that Tornado Twins twist at the end of the season and she winds up with a brother, what they might do is just say that Nora's full name is like Nora Dawn Allen. So she still has the Dawn name from the Tornado Twins in the comics, but it's her middle name and they just do the same thing for whatever her brother might wind up being. Remember, there are rumors that Cisco is going to be leaving the TV show? There are also rumors that Tom Cavanaugh is leaving the TV show as well, which would mean that Reverse Flash, or his Reverse Flash, would have to technically leave the show. Regardless of whether or not those are true, I do think that Eobard Thawne, Tom Cavanaugh, Reverse Flash will participate in Crisis on Infinite Earths. They teased it at the beginning of the season. There's a line of dialogue in Nora's newspaper that says Reverse Flash seen leading an army of shadow demons. They totally have to pay that off, but if Tom Cavanaugh really is leaving the show, what they might do is just use Crisis as a way to get rid of him and either introduce Godspeed full-time as a big villain for the show, or just change Reverse Flash's face, so to speak, so that it's a new actor or a younger version of the character from before he became Barry Allen's enemy. So even if you keep Eobard Thawne around, it's a very different version of the character, and it doesn't feel like the exact same story that you've done every single season with him. I haven't been a really big fan of the Cicada storyline this season, but I think they've done a pretty good job of foreshadowing where that's going to end up. Because we know that Grace eventually takes the mantle of Cicada in the future, they might just find a way to show that to current day Cicada so that he's horrified, and somehow they find a way to convince him to take the metahuman cure, and then she gets it too, they go off and they have their happy ending. I know there's still a lot of questions about what's happening with Arrow's final season and whether or not some of those actors will come to the Flash TV show or the Batwoman TV show when the show ends, because obviously the characters will continue to exist in the universe, so there will be crossovers, but here's a short clip of Stephen Amell sort of explaining what's going on with that.
Towards the end of season 6, I approached Greg Berlanti, who I will be thanking in a second, and said that I thought, both personally and professionally, that at the end of my commitment this coming season, it would be the best for me to move on. I've always been a fan of television shows that not only don't overstay their welcome, but end in a manner that really packs a punch. And so it had always been my hope that we would know when we were going to finish this journey and not limp to the finish line, so to speak. After a lot of discussion, Greg and I decided that the best way to do this would be to have me come back for a limited run in season 8, which is what we're going to do. And from there, I had always hoped that beyond the 17 different shows that Arrow has spawned, I'm kidding, it's only like 16, that there was a possibility that the show could live on beyond me, because the entity of Oliver Queen and the character and the mythos and the iconography of Green Arrow has always been something that's bigger than me or any other actor that's playing him or voicing him. There's always been something more to it. I spoke with Beth Schwartz and Mark Guggenheim this past Friday, and then Greg Berlanti this past Friday night, and it was the decision of WB and CW and Beth and Greg and Mark in a very mutual way, based off of what they thought was best for the show creatively, and being very honorable and respectful as it pertains to my wishes that we were going to end after a 10-episode run next year.
I've already done a video explaining what I think that they're going to be doing during the final season, about him disappearing during Crisis. But leave all your video requests in the comments below. While you wait for everything, click here for my early review of the Shazam movie and a bunch of new footage, and click here for my Captain Marvel post-credit scene video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.